Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining Jade Global today for the webinar on migrating from Oracle Service-Oriented Architecture 10G to 11G. My name is Sangeeta Jash and I am the Assistant Manager Marketing Communications at Jade Global and also your moderator today for this webinar. Jade Global is an Oracle Platinum partner and is a leading information technology and services and solutions provider. We deliver the right combination of business knowledge, product and technical expertise, project management and flexible delivery models to every engagement to ensure every client's long-term growth and success in business. For more information, please visit www.jadeglobal.com. Now I would like to introduce Rajesh. Rajesh Nair is a lead consultant at Jade Global. He has more than 9 years of Oracle application and IT experience. He has been involved in the designing and development of different Oracle application projects, including R12 implementation and V2B integration projects. He has expertise in V2B integration and Oracle core technologies and also has led the Jade Global technical teams for product development. We also have Adesh Patel here to answer your questions. Adesh is a lead consultant at Jade Global and has more than 8 years of Java and SOA experience. He has been involved in the designing and development of different Oracle SOA and B2B integration projects and is also an expert in Oracle application framework technologies. So now I'll go ahead and hand it over to Rajesh now, who will share and review the agenda and continue with the presentation. Over to you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Hi, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. I'm Rajesh from Jade Global headquarters San Jose. We have a nice and sunny day outside. So today's topic of discussion is mainly focusing on how to migrate Oracle Service-Oriented Architecture 10G suite to the 11G suite. So if we go over to the agenda, so we would be doing a comparison, architecture comparison between 10G and 11G, and we would review a high-level upgrade steps that are required, and then how we can set up the 11G suite environment. We also would like to see what are the options available for BPEL and ESB projects migration, BPEL instance migration, Oracle BAM migration, and what are the key things that we need to keep in mind when we do the testing the migrations. And we will slightly touch upon a case study and the lessons learned from one of our experiences, and we also touch upon common deployment issues and best practices. So let's move to the comparison between 10G and 11G architecture. So there has been significant changes happened between SOA 10G and 11G. So in this diagram, we can see one of the major components which is getting changed is the OC4J. So in 10G, we were having the OC4J, and in the 11G, it is mainly based on WebLogic server. So in the WebLogic, we have an admin server concept where we have the administrative functionalities that kept. You have an admin console and a Fusion middleware control, which is going to take care of all Fusion middleware related management. And we also have a managed server concept for deploying the web center components. And another major infrastructure change which is happening there is in 11G, the concept is more based on service component architecture. So you deploy or you develop your SOA-based components as composite applications, and then you deploy it as composite applications. So that can be on managed server environment. So that's the major change which happened between 10G and 11G. There is a detailed table coming up in the next slide, which talks about what are the main things which is getting changed. So if you see the Java EE container, like I mentioned, it's OC4J is getting changed into WebLogic. And in the management console area, we have the BPEL console, service bus console, and enterprise manager, and BAM management console. So these things are getting changed into enterprise manager Fusion middleware control. And if required, we can also use WebLogic control. So that is WebLogic console is basically we can use to manage anything like JMS, queues, or JDBC connectivities and things like that. But otherwise, the Enterprise Manager Fusion middleware control is going to take care of all other things that we used to manage in different ways. So like you see, earlier in the 10G, we had different products, standalone products, and these standalone products have different kind of installations, and though they have similar integration in endpoints or similar integration points between them, but the installations were quite different. But we have kind of consolidated that in the 11g. So it's mainly based on the service component architecture. So that is like more like a language neutral, and it's a component-based model. So if you move to the orchestration part, we have Oracle BPEL Process Manager. That was a standalone product, and in the 11g, it's becoming a service component, and that service component is going to run within the service component architecture in 11g. For any other logic, we had the business rules, and we do have a business rule service component which is getting replaced, which is replacing the Oracle business rules in 10g. And for the transformation, routing, and fan-out, etc., we have Oracle Service Bus, and we do have Oracle Service Bus still continue to be in 11g, but that's more like in an enterprise level. If you want to use, you can use that. Otherwise, for within an application, you have a more lightweight mediator kind of a service component which performs some of the functionalities of Service Bus. So that is called Oracle Mediator Service Component. And about the connectivity, it's kept the same in both suites. It's JC adapters being used, and in the business dashboard there is a major change happening because the Oracle BOM was mainly .NET based in 10g, and in 11g it is more Java based. And on the security side, we have the web service manager. Proxy and gateway mode were available in 10g. It's slightly changing in 11g. For proxy, we can still use OWSM, but for the gateway services, we have to use Oracle Enterprise Gateway. So in the next slide, we are going to see like what are the high-level upgrade steps that is required. So if you see, we can divide broadly into 3 different categories. Like one is we need to be preparing for the upgrade, and we need to update our ADF SOA Suite or the Web Center developed deployment, and we need to upgrade our deployed application. So these are the 3 major steps that we need to do. So if you take the case of preparing for upgrade, we need to first identify all the integrations and deployed applications and make sure that those are up and running, and review the starting point of 11g topology. So how do you want to structure the folder structures? And in the upgrade, we need to prepare the database and strategy for long-running BPEL processes. We will going to discuss that in the coming up slides, like what are the different strategies available for migrating the long-running BPEL processes, and how can we install and configure 11g environment. So that we need to consider while we doing this upgrade. Use upgrade assistants to upgrade SOA schema migrations, and perform WebLogic server configurations to support applications. So any manual configuration change required, so that also need to be considered. So we need to take care of that for our Web Center, and install and configure the web tiers, and use upgrade assistant to upgrade the web tier components. So about the deployed applications, we need to install and configure the Jade Developer 11g, and we need to open and migrate the applications using 11g. So some of the projects require recompilation, and some of the applications need to be redeployed in 11g. And finally, we need to test and verify the newly deployed applications for its correct functioning. So the high-level upgrade steps in a flowchart way. So we already discussed this one. So there are 3 major categories, and then we need to do like what we need to do at each stage is just represented in a pictorial way here. Okay, so let's go to the next slide now. So the result of the previous question was like 100% showing Apache and as the answer. And so in the new slide, like we're going to talk about how to set up the SOA Suite 11g environment. So SOA Suite topology, we need to decide whether how the folder structure needs to be, like the middleware home, common home, and things like that. So upgrade the repository database and repository creation utility. Install and configure SOA Suite 11g middle tier, and upgrade SOA component schemas, and configure Java EE features, and conduct post-upgrade tasks. So this is the slide shows that a graphical representation of how the folder structure is going to be. So we have middleware home, Oracle Common Home, web tier home, and we have the web tier instance and Oracle HTTP server, which is front-ending, and Oracle web cache server. And in the application tier, we have SOA Oracle home, Oracle Common Home, that's coming under the middleware home, and you have the WebLogic server home. Then we have the user projects coming up there, and you would be configuring the domains. So under the SOA domain, you have the admin server running and other SOA servers running. So most of the common artifacts will be stored in the metadata repository. So you have the SOA components stored in the metadata repository, and this is being built using the repository configuration utility. So next, we're going to talk about Oracle BPEL and ESB project migration approaches. So there are three ways we can do it. One is upgrade in Jade developer and command line upgrade and using the AND scripts. So like our survey result shows, like most of the people, 100% is using Apache AND script for migration. So if you use a Jade developer, that is a good approach actually. If you are just migrating one project, we just need to analyze the warning messages and log files and make sure that everything is fine in that upgrade process. And command line upgrade, there are limitations like cannot upgrade the whole application. So upgrade upgraded directory different than the source directory, and it does not take care of .jpr files. For .jpr files, we need to still open that in JDeveloper to create the .jpr files, and HTTP WSDL references to the project must be accessible if you are planning to do it through the command line. So upgrade using and we need to set up the environments, and then upgrade on 10g ESB service to and 11g composite application with mediator components. So that's one thing we can do, and merge several 10g BPEL processes to an 11g composite application. So you need to specify the source projects, and once you so the command line itself, the script itself will help you clubbing different projects or source projects, and then you can merge it into one destination project. So now we are moving to the BPEL instance migration. So the long-running instances of BPEL is going to be a big thing that we need to consider in a business environment. Because as you know, based on different scenarios that we have in a typical enterprise environment, you won't be getting responses for many of these the BPEL processes immediately. So those are asynchronous, and it is going to take some time. For example, if you have an approval cycle, it can take even months for get some approval, and or to get any callback coming back from the other technical component. So in between, when you do the migration, we need to really think about how we can do this migration. So there are two choices offered by, recommended by Oracle. So one is like a side-by-side upgrade, and another one is a grace period cutover. So there is no good and bad between these two. Like it's really like what the business really want and which approach they prefer. So that's something we have to choose based on the client or customer needs. So in the side-by-side upgrade, what we are planning to do is like we keep both the 10G and 11G environment running at the same time. And we cut over all new instantiations is going to happen on the 11G environment. So the 10G environment will be serving for all the old long-running processes. So the 10G system has long-running processes staying in a retired state, so it's not going to take up any new instantiations. And clients will be switched over to 11G, and the 10G system continues to run until all the callbacks arrive to complete the long-running processes. So it's basically making sure that any long-running processes are getting completed within the 10G itself, and the new things will be going to the 11G and then take the whole life cycle in 11G itself. So finally, once you have everything closed down in 10G, then you can decommission the 10G system. So the grace period cutover is like we just wait or give some grace period for 10G to wrap up everything. So 10G system has long-running processes still in a retired state when you plan the grace period. But after the grace period, we will see like whether all long-running processes in 10G are killed. I mean, whatever received is received, but all the remaining things are killed, and 10G system will be decommissioned. And then finally, you will cut over to 11G system by bringing it up in production, and then the new instantiations will go, or new accesses will go to the new 10G, new 11G system. And then steps that we need to really keep in mind during the Oracle BAM migration is we need to have a RCU, the repository creation utility, create the schema for 11G BAM, use upgrade assistance to copy data, objects, reports, alerts from 10G BAM system. 10G Enterprise Link is not supported, and native support for JMS connectivity is present in 11G. Also, we have a data integration support, native support in 11G. So a few other things is like we might need to stop the administration servers and manage servers in Oracle WebLogic server domain that hosts the BAM application. Then you go into starting the upgrade assistant and select the BAM schema on the specific operation screen. So you will be presented with a wizard when you run that, and then you can choose like what you want to do, whether you want to upgrade the B2B schema or upgrade the BAM schema, and you can select that. So basically, you need to specify the source database. So use that screen to specify the database connection details for the database that contains Oracle BAM 10G schema, and then specify the target database and use that screen to enter the 11G instance details where you want to create the Fusion middleware repository, and specify the schema names what you want to migrate, and then examine the migrated components. So you have a wizard to take care of all those things. So finally, once you complete the wizard, then things will be done. So when we move for after the migration, so the major thing is like we need to really look into the testing part of it. So what are things are we going to consider during the testing? So one is application flow testing we need to do. Make sure that nothing is broken, and so it's very critical to do that application flow testing. And along with that, we need to also make sure that business and application teams availability, because it's very critical to have the stakeholders available for verifying that everything is fine and well in the migrated environment. And you have to plan for preparing the test data. So identify the different scenarios, and as usual, like do any kind of project development, you have to prepare for the test data. And any external integrations that you have to identify, any inbound and outbound touch points. So you have to make sure that you're verifying all those things, and you need to identify any teams, both within the organization or outside the organization. You have to identify application teams involved, or the partners involved, or any other networking and other teams involved. And you have to also perform connection pools testing. And if any file transfers are involved in your organization between applications, application to application, or between business to business, even in B2B cases, you do file transfers. So you have to make sure that file transfers are working fine, and you need to also consider any security-related issues, because in OWSM inside SOA Suite, we have also a guide available to configure the different policies. So there is some kind of a monitoring plugin is also available in the SOA pack. So you can use that one and use the guide to really do the policy migrations, and then verify any other things required for security part. So now we move to the case study. So so the case study was based on a leading provider of optical products, and they test and measure the solutions for communication industry. It's approximately a $2 billion client. And the main IT landscape, if you would look at, they had EBS and SOA 11G, and for on-demand Siebel CRM was there, and then Salesforce is there, and few external integrations between B2B partners were there. So the business requirement is something like Oracle EBS and precision integration for shipment to create void shipment and shipment confirmations. And Oracle EBS and Flexera third-party system for, it's a third-party system for integration of sales orders for license entitlements. And EBS and CRM on-demand integration using application integration architecture framework. So the challenges is precision provider web services had HTTP binding with complex input and output data types. So SOA 11g does not support complex data type for HTTP binding web service. Then we have custom Java client was developed in 10g using Flexera provided web services. So 10g client could not be used directly in 11g. So and AA version was not certified in for the latest SOA release. So these were the challenges we faced. And let's take a look at the solution. Like we used HTTP client in Java embedded for invoking HTTP web service with complex data type. So that mitigated the first risk, that first challenge that we had. And then regenerate the web service client in 11g and depending on the customization. So that is something we had to do. So we had to regenerate the web service client in 11g and customize the custom Java client in 11g. These were the two options that we could use there to mitigate the custom Java client issue in 10g, and develop new SOA artifacts in 11g based on external web service only, and migrate to the latest certified AA version and retrofit the customization. So, so taking these steps actually helped us in meeting those challenges. So let's take a look at what are the lessons we learned from this. Migration can be as simple as just importing 10g resources into 11g, so that it can be like that, but also customizing existing SOA artifacts to fresh SOA artifacts development. So that's one thing we can do in a very simple way, and some limitations of SOA can be overcome with Java. So like you have seen, like we can develop some custom Java functionalities to overcome the limitations. And another most important thing is the estimation part of it. So estimation should be provided based on number of integration points, because points binding accessibility is better to postpone. So it's better to postpone the estimated efforts after an initial analysis of integration touch points, because then only you will get a very clear picture about what are the different things involved, because it won't be wise to just do a guesstimate kind of thing in the initial phase. So you need to really understand the different integration points, binding, so that you would be in a better position to estimate it in a better way. So it would be nice to postpone that until you complete the initial analysis of integration touch points. And every migration is new and unique on its own, so we need to deal with that. So some common deployment issues that we faced is, one is the base64 encoding decoding class issue. So when you compile the BPEL, it might fail if we had used a specific base64 encoder decoder class files in 10g, which is falling in the path com.call.axa common util. So in the import of this class should be changed to the new path, which is Oracle SOA common util dot base64 encoder base64 decoders base64 encoder. So that's one issue that we faced. And another challenge we faced during the deployment is the recursive import issue. So the deployment of the migrated composite might fail if the composite invokes the partner WSDL, and that is having the duplicate import of the same WSDL with an error saying that WSDL contains recursive import loop. So this is something we need to look into and then take care of that part. And another issue is like runtime fault or WS, the WSDL, and the WSDL addressing, WS addressing XSD cannot be found. So it's mainly because of its location got changed. So if you see in the 10g, it normally resides in the server path called XML-lib, and in the 11g, these files actually moved into the metadata storage, the repository. So we need to change that location manually to follow the MDS location in the code. So for an example, the sample path would look like aura MDS :/SOA/shared/people runtime fault.wisdel, and the same way like SOA shared common/ws addressing.xst. So this is just to talk about like few deployment issues that we faced. And the best practices, when we talk about best practices, we need to ensure that all 10G projects are up and running on the latest SOA 10G release before we start the migration. We need to install Jade developer using SOA extensions and install latest SOA Suite and configure all necessary resources. So that's another best practice that we can follow. And then follow an approach of a pilot project rather than doing a big bang approach. So rather than changing everything at once, start with the pilot project, make sure that the migration from 10G to 11G is smoother, and do the testing, and then see whether everything is getting addressed properly, and then go with the remaining approach. So rather than taking all the projects initially and then doing it at once. So and during and after migration, like we need to make sure that we recompile the migrated projects and rearrange the artifacts to the corresponding folders, and you need to also change the references as required. So and another thing is like the adapter configuration. So adapter configuration wizard, for each adapter you need to verify using adapter configuration wizard to make sure that the adapters are running fine, and you can create Jade developer applications and projects.
And a little bit about Jade Global before you leave. Jade Global is headquartered at San Jose, California, with offices in Texas, New Jersey, and India. If you have any questions or want to know more about our solutions and services, then please call us on the numbers displayed on your screen, or you can also email us at marketing@jadeglobal.com. We will help out with any query you have. Thank you very much for attending the webinar once again, and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.